Over the past 2 episodes, we've built a city with over 219,000 citizens without using any mods. The goal is to reach a population of 1 million. For this episode, I've accumulated a solid budget, allowing me to accomplish all the tasks I have in mind. First, I want to develop this new area. This area will have a central train station, surrounded by roads and streets designed according to the city's main design. There will be tall buildings in the center and shorter ones around them. Thanks to the recent release of the USA Northeast and USA Southwest packs, alongside previous packs, I now have more flexibility in zoning and different styles. The next task is to relocate the factories from this industrial area. Although the wind direction in this area doesn't blow towards the city, and the pollution doesn't directly affect it, this area is very close to residential zones. Now that I have the necessary budget, it's better to find a more suitable location for them. However, I need to do this gradually, because a complete and sudden move could disrupt the city's economy. Another reason for this move is the office zones, where the industrial pollution directly affects the citizens who come to work here, significantly impacting their average health. So, the second task for this episode is definitely this. I'll also give a major upgrade to the public transportation system, starting with the city's central train station. Lastly, if time permits, I'll create agricultural areas and small villages scattered around the city. Let's get started by building the areas and roads as planned. Let's go! To start the construction in this part, I need to clear the area. The buildings and services here were all temporary, and after completing this area, I'll rebuild them in their proper places. So, for now, I'll remove all these structures and even the trees in this area. This way, I can better focus on the work and the design I want to implement. I don't have any ready-made plans. I just start from this point, build and move forward. Sometimes I go back and rebuild several times until I create a final design that I like and complete it. This level of strictness might not be reasonable, but knowing that thousands might see these designs and videos, I need to be extra careful. Continuing exactly as I did in episodes 1 and 2, I start by creating guidelines and gradually complete the design. The important thing to keep in mind here is that this design will have a large central train station in the center. Let's see how it turns out. Alright, guys, here's what I've created in the end. It's a large area that I tried to make both consistent with the rest of the city and unique at the same time. This isn't a unified design, it's made up of various sections, with the central train station right at its heart. Wow! You wouldn't believe how much time I spent making this circular design blend in with the rest of the city without it looking out of place. What do you think about it? Make sure to let me know in the comments. Alright, the first task of designing the new part of the city is complete. All that's left now is to build the services, zone the area, and welcome people into their new homes. But before that, I want to tackle something important. I'll create access by extending the main highway and building a large intersection in this area. I'll continue it and connect it to the edge of the map from this point. This will provide great highway access to this part of the city and also add another connection for the highway leading out of the city, besides the one we already have. This will be a major upgrade for the city. I might also define the boundaries for a new industrial zone I plan to build, or maybe even areas for farmland and agriculture. Let's see how it all unfolds. To start, I'll unlock a lot of new tiles. The workspace I need has to be expansive, as the new industrial zone will require plenty of space. Regarding the default rail lines on the map, I initially planned to keep them as they are, but as I progress, I realize it might be much better to create something entirely new based on the city's needs. So, I think it's best to get rid of these and build a new one. Sounds good, right? Once I've completely cleared the area and, as usual, even removed the trees, I'll get started. I'll determine the center point relative to the main lines of the new city section and work from there. The design I have in mind is circular. I don't want the circular design of the central train station to feel lonely. I think incorporating a mix of circular designs with the city's primary 45-degree angled layout will create a nice harmony. Of course, I'll make sure not to overdo it, so I don't compromise the city's overall design identity. By constructing this section of the multi-level highway and splitting the main highway into 3 segments, I can actually extend the highway from this lower part as well. Overall, this improvement significantly enhances access to different areas of the city through this highway network. Next, I'll connect this section of the highway to the edge of the map, as well as the main road for now. The overall design of this part isn't finalized yet, and might change later. For now, I just want it to function properly. I might improve and upgrade it with some adjustments down the line. Now that a hub for the highway network has been established here, I want to add a rail network hub to turn this section into a key point in the city. The best space and location for this is exactly this part of the city. Building the rail network directly above the road in a multi-level design will make it possible to expand and extend it throughout the city from this point in the future. For now, I'll only connect it to the city's central train station, but there's always the potential to expand it later on. Actually, I plan to have more than one train station in this city. There's also the cargo train station, which I need to build in this episode as well, and all of them will be connected to this central hub. I'm really excited for its opening. Watching so many cars, trains, and other vehicles pass through this area is thrilling for me. One thing missing here is the connection from this massive intersection to this part of the city. Overall, the more access points we create, provided they're placed in the right locations, the better it will be for managing traffic and ensuring smooth transportation when a large population settles in this area in the future. If we plan for this now, we won't face congested streets with endless lines of cars once the city becomes busier. Alright, guys, that's it for now. I also fixed some minor details that didn't look quite right, and you might have seen part of it. I feel like the design of this section is gradually maturing and becoming more complete and visually appealing. In my opinion, there's a great sense of harmony and coordination between the intersection, the exits, and the train station in this part. I'm truly satisfied with the final design, and I hope you feel the same way. But let me tell you, this is just the beginning. You'll have to see it after the buildings are completed. It's going to be even more impressive. What I plan to do next, before zoning the new areas, is to create a new section specifically for low-density residential housing. This is because once the previous new sections become residential, there will likely be a significant demand for this type of housing. Addressing this in advance will help meet those future needs effectively. This spot seems like the perfect location for a rail yard. On the opposite side of this area, I'll also need to start setting up the new industrial zone as the work progresses. Stick with me as we quickly bring all of this to life. The current design for this area seems sufficient for now. As we progress, I'm finding the decision to zone this area for low-density residential purposes more fitting. For agricultural lands, I'll need to find a better location. My intention now is to kick off construction and define the regional boundaries for the new industrial zone. I think the best spot to start the new industrial area is this lower corner. As you can see, there are valuable resources here, and I can incorporate oil extraction wells and stone mines among the buildings and factories in the industrial zone. This will be fantastic for the city's economy. So, here we go with our new industrial zone. It's still incomplete for now, but it will gradually take shape. I've already moved some buildings. As mentioned, completely clearing the previous industrial area and transferring all the factories to the new location at once could seriously impact the city's economy. It would be a shock. That's why I prefer not to take that risk and will proceed gradually. Next, I'll focus on this area, where I definitely plan to create a low-density residential zone. Over time, I'll develop it further and decide what else I envision for it. And perhaps for the farms, I might consider this area across the river. I'm still not entirely sure about it, and I'll need to see how things develop. After preparing this part, I plan to ready the newly constructed main section for incoming residents and advance its zoning work to a certain extent. This way, the area will gradually become more functional and appealing for new inhabitants. Alright guys, that's it for this episode. Working on the new parts of the city took more time than I had originally scheduled. If I'd shown everything I did in detail, the video would have become repetitive, longer than expected, and wouldn't have been ready in time for the upload schedule I had in mind. I summarized the final stages and showed you the time lapse instead. At the beginning of the next episode, I'll share the city stats along with the key buildings I completed at the end of this episode. Another thing that got postponed to the next episode is adding the metro and tram system. I couldn't get to it this time due to the time spent on city details. But don't worry, it's going to be a crucial part of the next episode. I'll be tackling some major tasks that will not only make the next episode more exciting but also improve the overall quality of the videos I make in the future. If everything goes as planned, I'll explain it all in the next video. For now, as always, enjoy the time lapse and final shots. If you found this episode and these videos helpful or enjoyable, you'd really support me by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and dropping your thoughts, suggestions, or feedback in the comments below. See you in the next episode. Until then, happy building!